Hi guys, this is the next video of my XK race car. Thanks for following us if you've been following us throughout the whole series. We've got some changes going on. The big carbon rear wing there probably gives it away. We are moving from the Jaguar Racing. We're staying within the CTCRC, but essentially we are leaving the Jaguar specific racing, and we're going to go and race with the classic Thunder Saloons. So there's some seriously crazy stuff there and some really quick drivers. We're moving for a few reasons, but ultimately I planned on having moved at some point, just probably not quite as soon. I wanted to get like quite a lot more experience really, but you know, I'm happy with my decision, and we're just gonna move and just roll with it, really. So I'm not a crazy quick driver, as you probably know. I'm no racing driver. I love sitting in building a car, and we're getting quicker. And in fact, the best this has ever done is a third position in the Jags, and most of that was because everyone else had fell off or crashed into each other or broke down in typical Jag fashion. So I don't expect to be, you know, ruffling any feathers in the Thunders for sure. Sorry, the doors are rattling like mad. It's quite windy outside today, so hopefully you can hear me. But long story short, yeah, we're moving. We're going into the classic Thunders. Still with the CTCRC. We're doing a whole load of new tracks, including Super Touring 2 at Brands. The first one they did of those was absolutely epic, so we're really excited to be going back. So the car, like that's what these videos are about really, is following my little journey. So we're moving, we're going to the Thunders, which is, I'm genuinely excited. But what we're doing to the car, you can probably see it's in a few bits. So one of the things I have been so excited to do since I got this thing was to do an 8-into-1 collector on the exhaust. Now, I've not seen one in this country. I don't mean to say there aren't, but I've certainly not seen one. They sound absolutely insane, an 8-to-1. We've got these log manifolds on this at the moment, the OEM manifolds, and it's severely restrictive. So we're going to go an 8-into-1. It's not the out-and-out most performance exhaust, the best that would be a different design for this car. But my personal feelings are that it's already producing some really nice numbers. This is over the log manifold where they're just all going like 1, 2, 3, 4 and then out to the back of the manifold is very restrictive. So this is going to open it up. We've got some nice long headers hopefully going on there. So that's going to be the first port of call really. That's one of my first things that's going to go on. Now, I've started pulling it to pieces because essentially it's going to be going to James's down at JEK. He is the man. He's coming up a bit later on today, and we're going to discuss what we need to do. We are allowed to run. My wheels are having a bit more paint put on them. So the new these are Tom's wheels. So the Team Dynamics, the Pro Race wheels that I've got will be going back on, but with a set of slick tyres. So that's the other thing we can do in Thunders, run some slicks. So we're going to get some XBTCC slicks and throw them on there. So those are just on at the moment while that's happening. The doors are off just because it's easier, quite frankly. I will probably take a mould off of the doors while they're off because I would quite like some carbon doors. So that's a story again for another day. But yeah, Jammers is coming up and we're going to go through, oh, you can see my wing. I managed to get like a decent, expensive carbon wing. We're going to remake the brackets. I don't like the brackets very much that came with it, and I don't know why because it was expensive enough. But the brackets are just a bit wanky, really. So we're going to design something else. Maybe lift it a bit. We put the car into the software to see, you know. That's not my thing really, but I just like to put it in the software, and the spoiler needs to be up a little bit. So that's another story. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to strip all of the carbon off, just absolutely everything, for it to go down to James's. But yeah, so James is coming up in a minute to see what he thinks we need to move out of this. before we get it going. But next look is cool. The next thing we've got to do after the exhaust has gone on in preparation for this year is the loom. I have split you around. The loom I built up, you know, as a quick get me out of jail free card. A bit of a, it's not a fudge up by any means. It's like just a sort of club sport level stuff. But I've really wanted like to have a mil spec loom on it. So we are gonna, or I'm gonna start to make that up, start to build that up. Hopefully whilst James has got the car, because he's gonna need it for a couple of weeks. Whilst the engine's out, we're going to get a lot of the stuff sent off and coated. I've got another engine now, a second engine which we're going to build, like actually like forge it. I've got some custom cam specs which I want to throw in there. So we're going to go cams, forged engine, you know, rods, pistons, possibly a bit of headwork, because ultimately now we're in Thunders. We're not limited to a supercharger, so I want to like that supercharger should see me with a figure that starts with a 7 if we go put all the boost into it and do the engine work I want to do. You know, the thing scares me to death as it is, so I don't think we're going to need to be going for that, but it's nice to know that we've got that there. But I also want to push the limits of that engine. What will it do? You know, how much power can that engine do? So because we've got this 8-into-1 collector going in, and I've got James hopefully putting this down into the footwell, down into the passenger side, because that's occurring, we're going to have a nice big collector which could have a massive great big turbocharger. So in the future, a couple of years maybe, I do plan on putting a single massive great turbo on this thing. Hopefully some twin scroll. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how we go with the Charger, but ultimately I do want to see what the engine will do before it splits in half. But I think we're going to be at the limits of, way beyond the limits of my skills for starters, but also the limits of the gearbox. The gearbox is essentially a 2.7 diesel, you know, gearbox out of an S-Type. So at what point is that going to split in half and fall on the floor in pieces? I don't know, but I'd like to find out. Same with prop diff. All of those things have been designed with, you know, a limit of 700 horsepower. So if I go beyond that, what will happen? Again, I don't know, but I'm again excited to find out. So yeah, that's for the future. For a minute, we just got to work forward with what we got, get another season. Like I just need to be reliable, and if we can get this 8-into-1 sound out of this as well. Naturally, we're going to put a bit more boost in this year. Naturally, we'll put a bottom pulley on it. Probably go 10% bottom pulley, which should take us up to about 18 to 20 pounds. We had to run a bar, so 14 pounds give or take last year. So boost is open, so we can throw some more boost into what we've got, which I don't know what it will do, but with this exhaust and a bit more boost and some other little bits and pieces I've got, which I'm thinking about, I think we should be sort of well into the 6s. But we'll see what happens. You know, I'm interested to find out all these bits and pieces will do on the dyno. But yeah, so James is coming up. Let's see what he's got to say for himself. Right, so I've got the main man, James. Here's the one that I've roped into, convinced to do my exhaust.
Something like that, anyway.
Something like that. Now, I'm being a bit of a pain in his ass, really, because I've been gagging for a couple of years to do an 8-into-1 collector. Now, not many people in this country have done an 8-into-1 collector, and that man's going to do it. Now, we've kind of been looking around. We knew that it was going to be tight. We think that the 8-into-1 collector itself is going to go down the side of the gearbox. I've got to trim quite a lot out. Now, we're kind of thinking, what are we thinking outside, mate?
Lose the windscreen wiper and then chop out as much of this steel work here to give us the clearance to have the header pipes come round.
All your pretty pipes are going to come round there. What I like about YouTube is that we just talk about this.
And then go.
Yeah, and then
there
like 2 minutes later there's James putting some pipes in. I really like it. And whereas actually it took us like
6 months.
Yeah, like hours and hours and hours of dicking about to make stuff happen.
2 years of talking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 years I've talked about this manifold. I've wanted this manifold for 2 years. So yeah, long story short, see this gap here where there is none. This is the exhaust manifold and this is the car. There's like that much room. And because I've lowered the engine and moved it back, because the back of the engine bay is shaped like this, as the engine's come back, it's made it tighter. So I'm happy with where the engine is. I don't think we can do any more reasonably without going dry sump, which may be something I'll talk about another day. Because of course, like the Aston Martin came with a dry sump standard, like the 4.7 V8. That's correct, and they had the tank at the front there. But now I'm in with the Thunders, I can do that. I never was allowed to run it. We always had to run a wet sump, but now that's open. It's something I have to consider. But I think the engine will stay in the same place. But yes, so essentially, in order to make this happen, I've got to do some cutting. I have got to take this engine out again. I'm going to take all these carbon panels off. I took the doors off already so James can get in there. I've got to trim some stuff out of there so that the collector can get in. So there, like I say, engine gearbox out, and I've got to trim this back and try and angle this down so that he's got a bit more room. I've got to make a custom windscreen wiper motor. Anything else you'd like me to do?
Rewire the whole car?
Rewire the whole front end. Yeah, I've got to do that anyway. I've in fact got a load of stuff where I'm starting to do that. Oh, and the fuel pipes, I've got to have a rethink, haven't I?
The regulator's got to disappear somewhere.
I'm wondering if I could move that to the front, like put the crossover at the back.
Almost flip the system.
Yeah, and then just have the reg front right, or even on the wing somewhere, and just bring the, because the fuel pipes are over there, I can tuck them round there, but that's another job. Alright, so I've got to take all my carbon off, pull my engine out and cut it. It's all your fault.
It's nothing to me.
Alright, so I'll see you in a week with a very bare car. Okay, all stripped out. Next thing to do is pull this motor out, pull the engine out. Notice we've got some black coming out of the exhaust where the weld is split, so that's interesting, because I've been sort of fighting against a bit of a vibration, and that's coming in right next to your feet, so that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm going to pull this engine out now, and then, as I say, we've got to work on making a bit more room this side there. Got to move that over, that wiper motor, so hopefully straightforward. In the meanwhile, I've pulled off all the aluminium pieces, the inlet manifolds and all of that sort of stuff, and we're going to get that over to Amatec, and he's going to give it a nice coating for us, so that's going to be a lovely. Really excited to get that done. Hey! Right, let's get this engine out. So, engine's on the floor, nice big old hole all the way down there, so now I've got to work out where's best to cut and weld this to collect some room. Some free room is what we need. I've also noticed that the alternator belt has slipped over one tooth. Now, I'd not noticed that, and I had actually lost a belt on a track day and just assumed I'd done it up too tight. Now that it's on the same plane as the alternator is on the same plane as the bottom pulley, so I can only imagine it's where I put that little idler in the bottom. So yeah, I've got to look at that. But you know, the engine's on the floor is a hell of a lot easier than when it's not. So it's another little job to do. So we'll get on and do that as well. But yeah, so yeah, got quite a lot of cutting to do again. Right, this is the chassis leg. We see in here, you see where these spot welds are. This is like a big thick piece of box along here. It's folded twice, double thickness. This top piece is like is a thinner piece of steel, you know, from the pair of them. So what I plan on doing is cutting along here, maybe out at an angle or something, so it looks a bit pretty. Leave like a 5 or 6 mil gap along here so that we can put my new plates to it, and then cut along there, along the top of this box, and then I'm going to triangulate that down with some thicker steel, and then hopefully that will give us enough room down here. And then here I'm going to trim it back out and have a look, because interestingly this is piss thin here, and although it's sort of triangulating this, I'm not entirely sure how structural it is. I mean, it's obviously got some structure there, but this is completely empty in here. So we might try and trim this back and maybe put an actual piece of box section in coming down to meet, so that we open up some area here. And I'm going to cut this right out and trim this back out, because I wish I'd done that to start with. So first things first, we'll get the grinder out and get busy. So I'm trimming this out. I'm really happy here. I've got like a double layer here, which I've got to put in a piece underneath before I put this top piece on. This is just it's just a panel that's just there for, there's not normally the steering rack's this side it was covered up to an extent, so if it was like a left-hand drive, it would come through there. So I'm thinking I might just unpin this whole panel, and just maybe leave like a few mil there and tap that down so that finishes that off nice, and then that gives us all this room. And then I'll put something in there once we've got the exhaust in, I think. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, I've pulled that panel out now, much happier with that. I've still got to pull that little piece off there. I've just got to get the little windy in there. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that, and I'll knock that little edge over. And I've kind of gone balls deep here and just cut it. It's all just thin. Obviously it's structural, but I'll weld some pieces in under, and then have like a finishing piece, cut the pieces probably come around there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy actually. So yeah, we can start making some pieces up, filling in this side now. Why am I cutting this to pieces? Okay, so got those bits in so far. They're just tacked in. You can see the difference actually from side to side. There's so much more room there now. I'm not doing it crazy. I'm just templating up in cardboard, obviously, and just smashing it in, trying to put as many folds in one piece as I can to increase the strength. This lip I'll weld in, but like I say, for a minute I'm just tacking it in, make sure it's going to actually fit with all the new exhaust. Hopefully that's got James enough room. If it hasn't, James, it's tough shit, all right? Right, so this side here, really happy with. I'm just sorting out this chassis leg now. I've essentially welded in the thicker piece underneath, as I said I would, and I'm now just sort of mounting up these, folding up some bits and pieces to go in here, so hopefully it'll look half sensible. So we'll stick that in, and then we've nearly done one side, haven't we? This side's pretty good. As I say, I've got to just finish off doing a few bits and pieces, but ultimately it's ready to go down to James's like that. So now I've just got to do this side, so hopefully I can do one of those finger clicky things where I just go like that and it's all done, and I've spent a day fucking around. Just like that, easy, doddle. So again, I've sort of chamfered this chassis leg off. I've put a piece of box section in there to support that panel, because I don't need to come over as much as I did over this side. So and I've taken that edge right off all the way up, and that piece that was over there. So really happy. Next job is to, oh Christ, is to put the engine, which is under there at the moment, back in the owl, and then have a look at this windscreen wiper, and then ship it off to James's. Happy Christmas. Okay, excuse the mess. This is my wiper. These are, I've got to move this right over, so I'm going to drill out these, and hopefully I'll leave some nice holes here that I can re-weld it, stitch it up here a bit, and hopefully that'll just work. So that's the arms bowed on. I've trimmed off this side of the motor because I kind of figure I'm only driving one wiper blade anyway, so there's going to be no torsion that way lost, I don't think, for having another few inches out. But happily I can literally tack that under there. There's absolutely loads of room, so I think I'm going to be able to tack this onto that there, and then just have one arm going from there to there, because the pivot point's the same here, so the wiper will have the correct amount of sweep. Yeah, happy days. So James will have all this extra room. This is moved over, essentially. It was bolted to there, so we'll have moved that over like 6 inches. Hopefully he's happy enough with the room. There's a whole shitload of room in here now, where there normally isn't, so hopefully it'll it'll be cool. Hopefully he won't phone and complain at me. Just tacked just for a minute just to make sure that it's going to work, but it does seem as though that's going to resolve that little issue. So I'll still have to make a little bracket drop down there like the original, but it's right out of the way, gives him loads of room. And I'm going to get rid of this completely and put that arm straight to there, so it's just got one driven. And I might even increase the sweep a bit, so it's full 90s spec. Single sweep. So whilst a lot of the bits and pieces from the car are off, boost pipes and all that shit, I'm gonna, this is like the front casing to the engine, I'm gonna take this opportunity to get these all coated. So I'm gonna zip up and see Andrew from Amatec. We're gonna take it all up there and he's gonna show us what sort of coatings we can have. He's the absolute boy. He does nuclear, motorsport, like all that sort of stuff. He does all sorts of coatings, from temperature coatings on exhaust to, I don't know what he's going to recommend for these bits and pieces, but I'm excited to go up and see him. So I'm going to get up there now and drop these bits off to him. Tight. There you go. Show me your collector. There you go. So we're back at JEK. Yeah, and my hole that I've made appears to fit the Jammers' collector that they've made. So we're properly excited. So what's this afternoon? Finish this?
Well, it'll be a Saturday you pick it up.
So yeah, it's a fucking lovely job, that. I'm so excited. That's Jammers and Rips. They've done that. He just finished his McDonald's. He's happy as fuck. So yeah, I'm going to pop down and
No, you're not.
see how you're getting on. I'll bring you a tea.
You're just going to shut the door.
I'm so excited, but yeah, he's given me the thumbs up so far. I've no doubt I'll come back and there'll be more holes in it where something was in the way.
Just be swinging from the gallows.
We'll come back and get this, and that'll be in the next video. But I'm really excited, Jammers. I can.
The magic of YouTube and the whole, like, look at that, and now it's done.
Yeah, I did that in this video. I did a click, and that side was done. So yeah, I'm properly excited. And we'll see you in the next video. Say bye, Spike.
Kisses.
And bye, Jam Jam.